Hi everyone. Today video is on MiniProfiler in .NET application. So using MiniProfiler, we have a capability to trace our entity framework or Dapper or raw SQL query performance like the time, how much it takes to execute against our database. So it is very helpful to optimize the production ready applications are already the applications running in the production to know where the application is slow or which queries are taking too much long can be understand and can be view them as a report using this mini profiler. So it is very helpful for any kind of .NET applications. So this mini profiler can be used in .NET framework or ASP.NET Core or from the .NET 5 as well. So it can be used either in MVC application or web API or rather any kind of the .NET web application. So it is compatible with all of them. So here we are going to uh, look how the mini profiler helps for an application to view the entire report of the application by page, how the queries are executing, how long them are executing, not only queries, including any block of code. If you want to uh, if you want to know the time taken by any particular block of code also can be achieved using this mini profiler. So this mini profiler is not restricted to only database calls only. You can check any kind of code. Like if you have HTTP client calls in your application, you can determine the how much time to take to is taken to complete that HTTP call as well can be determined using this mini profiler. So with this help of mini profiler, we no need to have the external logs that we developers need to write. So it makes us life very easy and helpful with a nice UI representation where it reports the page, entire page and its execution of the queries very nicely in a step-by-step manner. So that is the help of the mini profiler. So before going any further, I want to mention one thing that the entire session, what I am going to discuss in this video, has been furnished as a blog. The link for the blog will be available in the description under the video. If you want to check the blog, you can go through the link. Okay. So coming to our video session, here I have created a MVC application .NET 5. Okay. So in this application, I have mainly three pages. Like you come here, this is my home page. Here I am having two uh, entity framework calls. Okay, two table calls. This is one table and this is one table call. Okay, this is my home page. And if you go to do page, this is one database call. But here I am using Dapper. Okay, Dapper to communicate with the database. And here I have another page like albums. So in this page, I am invoking the external API using the C# HTTP client. So the reason I have created with the three different kind of communications in my application to show how effectively Mini Profiler will report my all the pages or all requests with a very efficient way. Okay, so that we can understand how to integrate Mini Profiler and all its features through this sample application very easily. So just I am recapping. This homepage contains two database calls which are purely made with entity framework, and a 2D to do page is have single database communication, but it is using Dapper, and albums page is an external API. It consumes so using HTTP client. Okay, and I want to show you briefly the code for each controller. So here. This is my index page, nothing but my home page. And my home page here it is empty, right? But I said two DB calls, right? That is because I am using view components. That is a feature from the .NET Core. Okay, you If I go here, you can see I am invoking uh, two components like gadgets and users. So if you go to the view components, you can find the Inti framework database communication. See, this is my database communication for users and the gadgets. This is how my landing page code looks like. Okay. And one more thing, for every user visit, I am also logging log page view. For that, what I did, I have created a filter. Okay, it is also uses Senti framework. See, here I am saving each user visit as a page view into my database as an action filter. This action filter is decorated on my every action method. And next page I want to show is to dos. See, this is my to do's action method. Here I am decorated with page view filter. And if you observe here, I am using Dapper connection. Okay, for communicating with the database. That is my to do action method. And next, coming to my albums page, here you can observe I am using external API using HTTP client where I am creating HTTP client and consuming the API. So this is my album action method code looks like, and this is also having entity action filter decorator. So this is the overall idea regarding the code, how I implemented in my sample application. So now I need to integrate profiler into my sample MVC application. And for that, if you go to the MiniProfiler GitHub, these are all the provider MiniProfiler and its extensions library for each of them. You can use it for any kind of communication or piece of code, anything. You can choose the required libraries for your applications. So here I am using .NET Core MVC, right? So I am taking this MVC library. Okay. If you are using Visual Studio 2019 for .NET 5 application, please go and copy the package manager command. Since I am using Visual Studio Code, where I am going to use .NET CLI command. So just copy this command. Okay. And come here and let's stop our application. So let's install the miniprofiler.asp.NET Core.mvc library. Okay, and if it is successfully installed, we are able to see the reference here, the C project. So I am able to install successfully my miniprofiler.asp.NET Core.mvc version. Okay, so now the basic step is we need to register the service and the middleware. Okay, for that go to startup page. Okay, let's get rid of these things. And in the startup page, in the configurations, we can do like services slash add mini profiler. Okay, like this, we need to register our mini profiler service. And next thing is we need to integrate the middleware. Middleware should be above the our endpoint routing. Okay, so my preferred way is to use on top of the every middleware if possible. If not, at least you should be uh, written above the static files or else here above the routing. Okay, so I will configure here. Okay, app dot use mini profiler middleware. So that is the basic step. Okay, now I have mentioned, right, my home page is all about the NT framework calls. Okay, sorry, my application is not running, so let's run it. So application is running. Let's go to home page. So I have mentioned, right, this is all about NT framework queries. So let's try to first track the NT framework queries or my track enter my landing page using the mini profiler. So for Entity Framework, we need to install one more additional extension plugin. That is, if you go here, MiniProfiler Entity Framework. So just navigate to that NuGet package page. So I am using CLI command, so I am copying this command. If you are using Visual Studio, go for Package Manager command. Let's open one more terminal and paste it here. Okay, and let's confirm it by going to cproj. So here we have installed a MiniProfiler Entity Framework Core extension method. So finally, we have installed two frameworks that are related to MiniProfiler, right? So these are the two MiniProfiler libraries. Okay, and we need to add extension register extension method of Entity Framework as well in the startup file. For that, we need to do like let's add Entity Framework. Okay, that's it. Now our MiniProfiler has capability to track the every page of my application. So let's check my application is running or not. So it is running, and so now I am ready to view my report of my home page. For that, first always, if you want to see the report of the MiniProfiler, first you need to at least one time you need to access our web page. Okay, so here I am reloading my home page. So it is reloaded. Okay, and now I can check my profiler report. For that, how we can navigate means using the same domain and path like MiniProfiler / resources. See, this is the default path to view the MiniProfiler report. So let's run this URL. See, this is the report generated by the uh, MiniProfiler. Here we can see home page, okay, and heading which page for this report is, and you can see the time taken by the CSHTML and the action filter, everything in the overview section, and total duration and SQL queries. Okay, see, you can see each and everything execution here as well. See, inside in more columns, high trivial. If you expand this show trivial, we are getting more data here. So if you observe the under the views index.chhtml, you can see what are the view files it is loading. These are my view components. Okay, and you can check index.chhtml contains two SQL queries, and action filter contains one NT framework query, and index.chhtml contains two NT framework queries. What are the two NT framework query index.chhtml contains? Those are my view components, because I am loading the view components from index.chhtml. You can observe here, right? So it is comes under the CHTML. So if you go down there, it will show complete call stack of our execution, like connection open and its time, and where the connection open, it is page view filter, our action filter, nothing but. And see here the action filter and time taken by the query, and also it can read the NT framework query as raw SQL query, and it will display in our report as well. See, up to and correction close of the action filter as well. Next, if you go down, you can see one more raw query that is tracked from the index.chhtml. This is brand gadgets table query, and it is loaded from the my gadgets view component. and its connection open time and its connection close time, as well as the time taken by the query to execute. And you can also see the my another component NT framework query like users, right? Raw query and time taken by it, and time taken to open the connection, and time taken to close the connection. See, this query we have seen, this query we have seen, and also the insert query for my page views. So this is how MiniProfiler give the entire report of our application. See, if I reload again, and you can check here. Okay, and so that is how my MiniProfiler works with the Inti framework query tracking. Okay, and now let's go to my to-dos page and check the report for it. For that, first I need to load the to-dos page. So my to-dos page loaded, and now I need to check the uh, report. For that, I am just going to reload it. See, here we are able to see it is the report for to-dos page, the heading side. Okay, and here you can see action filter is executed. And if you go down, action filter means nothing but our page view is executed. But we don't see any query regarding our Dapper SQL query. It is unable to read my Dapper query. So to track the Dapper query, the what are the steps we have taken are not sufficient. Okay, so to track it, we need to install one more extension libraries like MiniProfiler providers SQL server. Okay, so this is not only tracks that Dapper. This library can be used for ADO.NET queries or any queries of our application. So I'm going to install this library. See, providers.sql server. Copy that. Go to our terminal. PowerShell command. Let's install it. So it seems successfully installed. Let's check in our project. See, package.provider.sql server MiniProfiler has been successfully installed. Now we need to change some code in my to-dos action method so that my Dapper query can be tracked using the MiniProfiler. For that, go to my home controller. Okay, and here I need to make some changes. So in to-dos action method, I need to do changes like let down new tag change dot profiling dot data dot profile db connection. See, stack exchange dot profiling dot data dot profile db connection. It is also expecting the db connection object. So for that, what I can do, I can simply pass this new SQL connection. Okay, cut it over here and paste here. Okay, and it is expecting one more property like tag exchange dot profiling dot mini profiler dot current property. Okay, and let's align it. Alt F is not working. Okay. So this is the change I am making. Previously, what it is there, SQL connection is directly enabled to DB connection. Now for using the profiler, where we have to do stack exchange dot profiling dot data dot profiler DB connection object. That object is for our that object takes input parameter like our SQL connection object. Okay, and that's all the required changes for the to dos for tracking the Dapper query. But here we have another compiler issue that is showing. If you hover here, you can read the message. The call is ambiguous between the following methods of the properties. Okay, this Dapper method getting ambiguous because when this ambiguous will appear when there are similar methods with same signature and everything. At that time, compiler don't know which method to invoke. So at that time, we will get this ambiguous error, compilation error. So why is occurring here? Why it is occurring here? That is because we have installed Dapper and we have installed MiniProfiler SQL Server. The MiniProfiler provider.sql by default implicitly it will have all the features of the Dapper. Okay, everything that are related to Dapper it will have implicitly inside of it. So that is why we have two Dapper methods everywhere in our application now. So it will going to throw the compiler error like ambiguous. So how to solve this problem? One thing is, if our application is a really real-time application, then we don't have this problem because every real-time application nowadays we are using layered architecture, at least basic three-layer architecture, or any more advanced architectures also we are using. So in real time, we never have database communication code. Okay, nothing but like this code and UI are in the same project. Okay, we never create like that. So in that case, what will happen? The DB code, maybe you can call it as data layer code, that will be definitely in the separate library. At that time, data layer library will have this Dapper package library, and UI library will have this package library. UI library never required this Dapper library. So at that time we don't get any conflicts because they both codes are situated in different libraries. At that time, one library will have Dapper, mostly that is data layer, and another our UI library will have this SQL provider because MiniProfiler is only required by our local project. Our UA project only will have MiniProfilers because MiniProfiler is to show the report that is required by our UA project only. So in that case, we never face this issue. Okay. So in real-time project, when we have a multiple libraries in our project, then we don't never issue this face this issue. But here my demo, I am using single project. My data layer, business logic, or any kind of code, I am writing in the directly in my MVC project only. So here I have installed both plugins, sorry, NuGets in the same project. So I am facing this issue. So to solve this, so if you are using a very small scale applications and you are writing the code in the single application itself, then what we have to do means we need to uninstall this Dapper, what I can say, Dapper library. So to resolve, because Dapper inbuilt functions are available in SQL Server. So to resolve this, let's uninstall the Dapper library. So this is my command for removing the Dapper libraries in .NET CLI command. For using Visual Studio users, you need to do like while installing, we have install -package, right? Just add uninstall and remaining will be same for uninstalling the any NuGet package. So here my .NET remove package.dapper will remove the Dapper from my project. Uninstalling my Dapper library here. So removing references of the package Dapper from the project. So let's confirm it by checking here. So my Dapper package is gone, successfully uninstalled. Let's save it and go to our home control. Now you can observe that red squiggly line is gone. That ambiguous methods are existed in our project. That error is gone. Now our application will successfully run without any issue. See, it is running. So let's save it again to confirm. So my application is running, and let's go to our app. So this is my to-dos, right? Let's reload it. And my application is working normally, right? Now let's check the reports for this to-do. See, my to-do, I have got report. Now if you observe, our overall overview summary has been increased. That is because now it is able to track SQL query, I think. If you go down, is page use, and if you go down, see here, connection open, where it is open, controller, home controller. In the home controller, for what action? To do action. Connection is open, and you can see my simple raw query. Select star from to do's. If you go my code also, you can observe that simple raw SQL queries. See, this query has been tracked down, and it is showing the results time taken here as well. This is how perfectly tracking the Dapper queries as well in our MiniProfiler report. So here it is nicely giving where it is running and what is the query executing, everything. Now we can track down in our application what kind of queries we are able to track down the queries like NT framework queries and the Dapper queries as well. Okay. Next thing, left the page left to is albums. So albums, this is my page. So just visit this page and try to track the time for the albums page. See, it is showing heading like albums only, right? And if you go here, here also we are not able to see the HTTP client call time taken or its tracking time. So here it is only showing my page view action filter that is by default registered on my every action method of my page. So because it is inside of it is NT framework, right? So it is tracking down. And but my main code, that is HTTP client, how much time it is taken, it is not displaying, right? So to calculate some external clients HTTP client code, or consuming some any REST API service, MiniProfiler don't have some default extension library or some default methods like it has in NT framework and Dapper. We don't have any such kind of methods, existing methods like this, or any services to register to track down the HTTP clients like we did for NT framework. There are no such extension methods or libraries or line of code for track down the HTTP client. In these kind of scenarios, MiniProfiler provide us few useful existing methods which can be used to track the time taken to execute any kind of block of code in .NET or C#. Okay, please listen. To track the any kind of code that is not HTTP client or not anything, any logical code, that if you want to track down and report it on the MiniProfiler report, we have few default methods to track down them. So I am going to use one such kind of method here. So for that, what I have to do, I need to encapsulate this entire code inside of the using statement, and for that too I need to initialize here the profiler dot current dot step. This is the method has the capability to automatically to start the time and stop the time once the code inside of it executed, so that we can track down entire time taken to executed by that piece of code can be viewed in the MiniProfiler report. So, and I am going to grab this my entire code into my this using statement. Okay. And now here I need to pass some any name. It is expecting some kind of name. Okay, this name can be used as the heading in my report. So I will name it as external API call. Okay, just save it and check our application is running. And once reload this page, albums page. Okay. Now my album page is reloaded. Let's check the report. Okay, I got albums report, and you can see here in overview external API call as a side heading that is where coming from home controller. Okay, and time taken to execute it. Everything is reporting now, right? You can observe here name I have given for my step method external API call, and if you go further down for call stack, see here it is showing total time taken to complete the execution and the external API call as my heading. But when compared to previous or above this, see this one, what you can say action filter report, how nicely it is showing, right? It is showing like fully where it is executing in the action filter, everything, and what it is internally executing, everything it is nicely reporting. But this step method giving very simple information regarding this, right? So we have is giving only simple information regarding it, and because that functionality itself is defined like that only, it is to track the simple information like that. And it is also provide one more method, like if you type like if, see this if, and if you hover here you can see the string name, decimal, min, save and false. So what is this step if function is helpful. Okay, this step if function will helpful. So here for the this min save, some description is given that will be time the code between its creation and disposal will only save the timing if the total time taken exceeds the min save. So in this method we need to specify the min save milliseconds, okay, while using the step if, so that what will happen if this piece of code execution exceeds the time specified here, means it's taken some long time than expected, then this tracking information will be added into the report. If at all, if the time taken to execute this piece of code is less than the time specified for this min save input parameter, then that represent our code is good. It is not, it don't have any code smell. At the time, what it will do, it will simply ignores to report the tracking information into the report. So it is conditionally reports the tracking information into our reports page. So when this will be useful, if your application is very huge and you have enabled tracking for each and every piece of code, right? At that time, if you use directly only step method, it will track down and report everything into my reports page, which may look some tedious only, because we are at the time we are reporting some good code also in the tracking. So, but if we use step if and we specified some time, max time limit to the execution of the particular block of code, So if the code executed before the time means our code is good. Then we no need to check the tracking report in the our mini profiler report. At the time, it is very helpful. It will only display the report regarding to the block of code. Those are executing very long time. So that is the help of using the step if. And we have seen it is giving very minimal amount of information, right? Mini profiler also provides us one more method like custom timing. Okay, it is also work as similar as step method, but it will use more in detailed information. If you hover here, is like category. First command is like left side we have column, right? Here now the first input parameter will be displayed here nicely, like what the purpose of this tracking, like that the first parameter will be used. And second parameter, if you observe, command string. So command string means nothing but what kind of command executing in this piece of code. These input parameters can be given based on our own choice. There is no restriction to give any particular syntax like that, but it should be meaningful. It should be understandable by the others. So for that, what I will do, I will give the command input string as my external API call URL. So copy this and I will go to my startup and will copy the domain of my external API and I will paste here. So now let's check the tracking report of my albums page, how it will be shown. Okay, so I have saved everything, and if I refresh my albums page, it is working as expected. If I go to my reports page, I'm getting report. And now see, previously one single line of code is displayed for the HTTP client call. Now here you can see my first input parameter and where this is executing in the controller in the albums action method and what type of command it is executing. I have given my URL as a command string, right? That is displaying here and the time taken to execute. So it is describing more about our method, more briefly, more explanatory way it is explaining here. So that is the difference between the current step method and current custom timing method. So this can be used to track down any kind of piece of code. Okay, like you can write like a logic like a plus b equal to c, a minus b equal to c, any kind of small logic also you can add here. It will be tracked down by the mini profiler and reported into the mini profiler reports. So that's how mini profiler work. I have shown all different kind of trackings, right? Like entity framework tracking, like a Dapper tracking, and also a piece of code in the .NET can be tracked using the methods like step or step if or custom timing. Okay, custom timing also have method like step if, like custom timing if. This is also works like that only. If you specified some highest range of seconds, if it is executed below that, it won't shown in the report. If it executed more than the specified seconds, means the method is taking too long at that time. The tracking will be reported into our mini profiler reports. Okay, so that's all about the tracking of the code. And now I want to discuss few more uh, few more configurations like uh, in the mini profiler options configuration. There are a lot of configurations in that. I want to take two, mainly two configurations. Those are like, first thing is I don't want to enable this profiler always. If you add like this service and integrate middleware, and if you push this code, that tracking is always enabled for entire our applications. Okay, that might be leads to some additional burden because it should track each and every piece of code where it is enabled, and entity framework, if you have Dapper, those kind of anything we have to track, right? It should it will always run it. That may leads to additional burden to the server of our application, and also may leads to the performance issues as well. So at that time we need to do some restriction, like only on demand we need to execute the profiler. So for that we have a configuration option like options, and it provides us a option like options dot should profile. So this expects a delegate. That delegate is a type which takes input parameter as HTTP request and returns the Boolean value. So if at all it returns the Boolean value like true, then only profiler enable further request. If it returns false, then it won't track the request. So for that we can do this boolean value can be returned from this action method with different ways, like configuring the app setting.json is one way, and the another way is creating some column in the database, and one more way is like adding some query parameter to the URL, so that if the query parameter exists, then only this profiler should execute. These approaches you can do. My most preferred way and easiest way is query parameter. So I am going to check for the query parameter to enable the profiler or not. For that, what I will do here, I will create a delegate method like will return HTTP request as an input parameter request, and it should return boolean value. Let's return for now true. Okay, so this is how my should profile method will be configured. Now what I will do, I am going to check like request dot query, and my query parameter like enable profiler. Okay, dot to string. Okay, not equal to empty, and and I want to check the value as well. Converted dot to boolean. Okay, so what I will do, I will use these two conditions to return boolean from the method. So here what I am doing, I am checking for the query parameter, and after if it is execute, if it is value is not equal to empty and it is converted to boolean, then if it returns true, then only my profiler will be enabled, or else if it returns false, it is always disabled, so that we can get performance gain, and also we can have the capability to only profile the pages on request or on demand, right? So let's test this approach. So we have added, right, and let's our application is running, and let's check first our old approach. So I'm going to my home page. So in old way, simply if I am able to access the my page and check reports, it will show reports, right? See, now it is showing like no content it is found. If you go any page, will show no content is found. Any page you can go and check. I'm checking all pages. So it is showing no content is found. So that means our first step is satisfied. Like we haven't add any query parameter, right? So it is not able to track down the or not able to enable the mini profiler. That is the reason. If I add query parameter like this, enable profiler equal to true. Now it will be tracked down. See, I am getting my trackings. Once I added query parameter, tracking is enabled and it is reporting just normal like as before. It is reporting the reports. So like that, you need to add a query parameter for all the pages. Okay. Well, then only it will track down. To do page, everything is tracked down. So like that only we can track down. And next thing is we can override our uh, route path. Means here we have default right for the viewing the reports, right? Mini profiler dot resource dot access slash results. We can override this, but we can only override this base path of our uh, mini profiler. For that, it is a simple configuration. Okay. For that, you will have full configuration like options dot route base path. Here you can specify the path you want to give. I am giving like profiler. Okay, let's save it, and you need to give this name instead of the mini profiler dot access. But slash results will remain same. See, now I am getting with this. If I go and check old one, it won't work. See, it is not working. Page is not shown. Okay. If you go to profiler, it will work. That's how we can override the base path. So those are the two main configurations I want to discuss. And there are few more additional configurations like you want to toggle action filters or not for tracking. Here action filter is tracking right on every page. By default, it is tracking. You can also disable it by something like options dot, I think, options dot enable MVC filter profiling. Like that you can configure boolean values. Like that there are many options as well. You can check in the original docs. And finally I want to show one more additional feature that is available for only MVC is that is mini profiler tag helper. So let's enable that mini profiler tag helper and let's end this session. So to enable mini profiler tag helper, I need to add some imports. So in the view, I have already copied my necessary tag helper for the mini profiler. So I need to import this tag exchange.mini profiler and the add helper and Microsoft MVC. Okay. So this is how I need to import the required namespaces. And now I will go to my view.chhtml. Okay. Here on the top, anywhere you can add, but I am adding here. See, I am getting mini profiler a helper tag that is loads from the at the rate using stack exchange that is imported from the here. So I will add it. So that's it. And yes, here. Let's save and check this how this tag is helpful for us. Okay, let's go to our page, reload page. If you observe here, right side corner, it is displaying some seconds timing. This is nothing but the time taken to load this page. Okay, you can observe it on every page refresh. Okay, if you click on it, it shows a pop-up. See how nicely it is showing itself. Instead of going to a separate page into the URL, it will on the page itself, it will report everything, right? Very looking very nice and easy way to observe the request of the specific page. Okay, when this is helpful, if you think when multiple developers are accessing the, suppose if you have development or stage environment, or if production environment also, you enable profiler and the multiple developers in your team are trying to access, at that time this direct profiler result may not give accurate data. It will give accurate data, but it won't show expected result, because for suppose think I am one developer and there is another developer in my same company. Both are validating the profiler. At that time, I am validating home page. Another guy is validating to do page. When I reload to do, and he reloaded albums page. At that time, what will happen? Latest is albums. So when I go to reports page and checks, I will see albums page which is loaded by the another developer. But I want to check the to do album page. Sorry, to do page tracking report. So it is very hard to go in this way, but it works, but it is some complexity here. But in this approach, it will show the report for that particular page on that page only. So it is very easy for the developers to track down. That is the advantage of using this mini profiler tag, or else nothing is different going here or showing here. Everything is same only. And if you click on this share, you can check the full report. So that's how mini profiler tag helper will help us. Okay, that's all about the tracking the .NET application using the mini profiler. I hope this video has delivered some useful information, and if you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. I will meet you soon guys with another new video. Until then, signing off.